Hey everyone, so as promised, we would explore a rune casting for 219 as we begin to move forwards, as we sit here, New Year's Eve 2018, and we're kind of sitting here on the edge of, on the cusp of a new dawn, of a new day, and a new cycle of time, which I will explore with you in more detail going forwards. So one of the things that I've loved to do, I've been kind of really inspired to do for some time, that was born out of the adventuring that I get up to, and the adventuring I do is around the poignant cycles of time, those what I call gateways of time, which originally for me was around the solstices and the equinoxes. What I loved to do was get myself out onto the land, normally for an overnighter, just myself, sometimes with someone else, but predominantly ended up being myself, and kind of spending some time and really kind of looking back over the last 3 or 4 months, and really kind of exploring what's kind of happened. You know, what has gone on, what can I take from those last 3 or 4 months. You know, what has been my breakthroughs, you know, my kind of poignant moments that have really kind of shaped and nourished and nurtured where I find myself today, and also looking at the trials and tribulations, but most importantly really exploring what I can take from all of that, and most importantly, here's the key words, how I can apply it moving forward. What am I going to do differently as I move forwards, and where am I going? You know, I think these are really important questions to explore and ask yourselves as you move forward. You know, quite often we just move through time. You know, I have a good friend of mine who talks about either moving in time or moving through time. How many of us move through time? And these gateways and doorways, these poignant moments, where almost you get a sense of a pause, a suspension. I'm going to talk to you about suspension and suspended in greater detail as we move forwards within this rune casting. But I think it's really important to kind of just stop, pause, root and anchor, look over your shoulder those last 3-4 months. So if we look back last 3 or 4 months, we're looking back to All Hallowed Eve, Samhain, and looking at, you know, what have I experienced? You know, what has been my challenges? What has been my breakthroughs? And importantly, how can I kind of take all of that and apply it moving forwards? You know, if you look back to All Hallowed Eve, Samhain to winter solstice, and now New Year, there's been such a transitional shift, and I'm going to explore that a lot more as we go forwards. But let's have a look at this beautiful rune casting cloth. So a dear friend of mine, Elaine, gifted this to myself, and it is absolutely stunning. She designed it, and a dear husband crafted it and etched it for me. And what you've got in the center there is the world tree, okay, the tree of life. And the story is that Odin hung suspended from the world tree for 9 days and 9 nights. And what he was doing, he was seeking out the wisdom of the worlds, and I use the word worlds there, not world, worlds, wisdom of the worlds. And it is, the story goes that on the 9th night, these shapes and symbols appeared to him, and actually, in fact, they were the runes. And from that place of being suspended, he almost, like the story goes, that he entered a dream-like state, a semi-dream-like state, and from there, suspended from the world tree, is he travelled the 9 worlds. Okay, and I think, you know, the key word is suspension. Okay, is these poignant doorways and gateways and moments in time are almost, there's a pause. The word solstice, for instance, means to stand still. Okay, so everything kind of pauses, and it's a very powerful time. Don't underestimate it. A very powerful time to kind of gather yourself and absolutely check in and align, realign, and direct your energy. You know, direct your intention, direct your thoughts, become conscious about moving through those doorways of time. You know, in the last week we've had some powerful ones. Winter solstice, um, Christmas Eve. You know, another doorway of time. You know, things feel very different Christmas Day to what they feel like Christmas Eve. And here we are now, New Year's Eve. Everything's going to feel very different come tomorrow, New Year's Day. You know, the ease of these doorways are very powerful. Don't underestimate them. So beautiful rune cloth, okay? Suspension being the key word, okay? And beautiful runic symbols around the outside of it. And there we have my rune box as well. And that was gifted to me by my dear cousin from In Nature, Liam there. Difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. A real reminder of what we're talking about, you know, is over that last kind of quarter is what have we experienced. A real reminder to what it's all about. I say to people, grab a journal, reflect, ask those questions. You know, how about today, New Year's Eve? You sit down, you kind of get engaged into the process. You sit down, you grab yourself pen and paper, and you ask those questions. You know, these are opportunities. Come the middle of next week, you're all going to be thrown back into the everyday world, and everything potentially can become a blur. Don't let it. Okay, you know, start freaking owning where you are. Start claiming and reclaiming your time and your lives, guys. You know, you'll find that over this next year, I've always been very, very direct in the way that I work, especially within consultations, but I feel that it's time to really step it up a gear, and really kind of break down what it is that's holding us back. And you know, it's always been about moving forwards and forward direction. I put up a post just around winter solstice. Who's on the bus? You know, it's time to freaking well stand up and step onto the bus. You know, for me, it is now really gonna move and shift in a forwards direction, which means it's all about kind of standing up. So what's moving towards us? As you can see, also next to that beautiful kind of rune box that I keep my runes in, because I don't read the runes all of the time. These are used on these cycles of time, these gateways, these doorways. I have immense respect for them. Next to it, you'll see beautiful little bottle there, which I call the witch's bottle. It's got infused in it is some quartz crystal, amethyst and rose quartz with the most beautiful symbols etched on the outside of the bottle. For me, this is like a dynamo. It's just like a crystal dynamo. Recently I spent some time with Matt and Gwynny gifted me this bottle. Spent some time with Matt and really kind of started to really reconnect and possibly connect for the first time with crystals in a real conscious way, and kind of started to form a relationship with them. Again, not to be underestimated. So the first rune, okay, the rune that's coming, the rune that's kind of moving towards us, the influences that are moving towards us, beautiful, which is this rune here, okay? And it's the rune of joy, okay? But what's interesting is it's sitting next to this rune mark here. So when I cast them, I literally just took 4 runes and I cast them onto the cloth, and it's sitting next to growth, okay? Now, this is what I feel these runes are saying to me, is that joy comes from growth, okay? Joy comes from growth, okay? That life is all about growth. If we're growing, we're moving into a truer sense of self. Okay, things do not grow if we kind of hold ourselves sometimes in a kind of comfortable place. You know, I spoke before about growing pains. You know, sometimes for us to grow, things become uncomfortable. Things have to be kind of shed. You know, things have to kind of be questioned. Things have to be sometimes checked in on. You know, so I think growth and joy are absolutely interconnected. You know, that growth brings joy. Okay, so as we move forwards in time, as you move forwards into the kind of new year, are you growing? What areas of your life are kind of need nurturing? What areas of your life need some nourishment? What areas of your life are feeling like they are stagnant or not growing? Are you growing? What areas of your life are not feeling joyful? What's not feeling joyful? And how can I begin to grow that area of my life? How can I begin to transform it or nourish it or nurture it? Okay. Now, what is really interesting is, you know, the rune represents what's coming. So, you know, there's a sense of growth, and growth will bring joy. But I think it's about really directing your awareness to what in my life needs growing. What part of my life needs joy? Okay, and remembering that for joy to come, growth has to happen. Now, the other interesting thing is this symbol here is linked and connected to the birch tree. Okay, the birch tree, which brings me a feeling of birch sap. Okay, which if any of you have had birch sap, you've drunk it, it's like an elixir of life. It is full of energy. It is supportive after the winter months and the cold and the dark months. This is like a spring tonic. It is full of minerals and electrolytes, everything to begin to kind of wake you up. Okay, so the other thing that we're looking here is what's around you within your environment that is supporting you. And is there anything in your environment that is holding back growth? Okay, and what can you do to support your environment? Okay, who are the people within your environment that are supportive? Okay, birch sap is highly supportive and nourishing, full of minerals and electrolytes after a very long, cold, dark winter. Okay, I believe, you know, that we're talking here about springtime. I think as spring approaches, there's going to be some major shifts. Okay, but kind of weave all that together, weave those questions. So another question for your journal today is, what is in my environment? What is supporting me into growth and joy? What is maybe potentially holding back growth? What is stunting my growth? What is standing in the way of my growth? Okay, what is nourishing and supporting me? Okay, what is nourishing and supporting me? What is stunting that growth? Okay, and as we move forwards, we've got the rune that is kind of, this is leading on to this. Okay, this energy here is leading on to this energy here. Now this rune here is known as the disruptor. Okay, it absolutely has almost a disruptive kind of energy or influence to it. Okay, but I don't see that as a negative. Okay, what I see is that this gives way. Okay, those things that are holding you back, okay, if you kind of align yourself to growth and you kind of move towards that and you really look at what's in your environment, what is supporting you like the birch sap, what is nourishing you like the birch sap, and kind of really identify those things that are not. And if you start to move into growth with them, that's going to shake things up, is it not? Okay, and that's where that kind of disruptive kind of energy, or that disruptive force comes into play. Okay, but I don't see it as negative. I see it as a breakthrough or giving way. Now, a dear friend of mine, Matt from Golden Glow, many of you will know of Matt. He said about a dream, and within this dream, he kind of saw this wall come crashing down, but importantly, he could hear it. He said it was so loud, like this big wall gave way. Okay, that's what I feel we're talking about here, of sorts. And what it gives way to is that sense of the boundaries and those limitations and those aspects that kind of in a way hold back who you truly are. Those aspects of self, those situations around you that kind of limit you. This is kind of sense of a boundary, a wall, a boundary giving way. Those things that are limiting you, those things that are kind of really holding you back, have got to go, because everything is surging and in a way kind of purging. It's like visualize, a cascade of water moving up against a dam wall that has been holding you back for time, that is about to and has given way. All right, then from that point you kind of you move into a place, because the boundary's gone, that becomes limitless. That those things that are holding you back are no longer there, and it's about kind of being able to express yourself fully. Okay, reclaiming who you really are. So even though that may seem forceful or disruptive, what it's doing is throwing things up in the air that are not aligned to who you really are. I think it is about grabbing that journal and another question and asking who you are, where your values lie, what is really, really important to you, and those things in your world, are they in reflection to them? Okay, so very powerful. It's not disruptive in a negative sense, yet it gives me a feeling of force. Okay, making way and clearing the debris of unwanted things, situations, and even people. Okay, now the next rune, right, following on, okay, and it's here, and it gives me a feeling of these spiraling together. Okay, it's almost like the runes are just kind of rotating, they're spinning around this rune cloth, which wouldn't I wouldn't doubt, because knowing the person that made it, there's a lot of energy that have gone into the design and the etching within this rune cloth. So you get that sense of breakthrough. Okay, this gives me a feeling, because this is to do with possessions, this rune here. So this gives me a feeling of, as spring approaches, those are long-awaited goals, projects, ideas, and dreams begin to take hold. They will begin to take hold after that kind of clearing, that kind of energy that moves through your life, based on the fact that you're looking at, growth. Okay, where in my life do I need to nurture the growth? Growth will bring joy. To bring joy, we need to clear the way. Okay, we need to clear the way. Okay, remember all those key questions. We need to clear the way. Then that will kind of absolutely give way to a sense of those long-awaited goals, those projects, those ideas and dreams absolutely begin to take hold. Okay. Now this rune, interestingly, okay, was carved in the doorway in the film The Hobbit, and it was carved on Bilbo's door by Gandalf. Okay, now Gandalf, those of you do or don't know, is it's the image Okay, it is the archetypal image of Odin himself, okay, the wandering wizard. Okay, read up on Odin, explore a little bit about Odin and the runes, and you'll see. But this rune here was carved on his doorway. Okay, so it gives me a sense of kind of moving into a time going beyond the doorway. Okay, so going beyond what you thought was possible. Okay, which, you know, as my dear friend Matt always says, sometimes we need to believe in ourselves a lot more than we do. We need to believe in our abilities a lot more than we do. So much becomes possible at this time, you know. And as I say, I get the feeling of the runes spinning and movement. There's so much movement in this casting. The outcome, okay, the outcome rune, there we are. You know, this is the rune of constraint. I think at times of great change or accelerated growth, it's important to try to remain rooted and grounded. Okay, so if you're going through a transition of this ilk, it is really important to try to remain rooted and grounded and anchored, as hard as that may be at times. Maybe it's about, you know, going for a walk once a day, even if it's 15-20 minutes, you know, kind of really feeling your feet. But the thing is, going for a walk can also help you kind of identify answers to questions. That whole thing about, oh, I just maybe need to sleep on that. You know, go for a walk maybe in the beginning of the day, and maybe at the end of the day, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, could be absolutely beneficial. Not telling anyone what to do, but these are tools that are tried and tested. That whole thing of going for a walk gives you a chance to think, you know, meeting the day, not just moving, crashing, banging into the day. How about kind of moving into the day consciously, going for a short walk, thinking about the questions of the day, come the evening, going for that walk again. Have you got the answers? You probably find the answers are there, okay? These are powerful tools. They're very, very simple, but they will really help. And most importantly, they will root you. So, you know, get out there in the great outdoors. Nature is a very, very powerful healer. So there's the Runite insights between now and Ostera, Easter. Those of you who have asked about my events, you can find my events via the website, allthews.shanegadd.com, and go on to my events page, okay? I really want to thank everybody that's been following the YouTube channel for all your comments, all your input, all your kind of feedback, and those of you on Spirit Meets Adventure Facebook page as well, all your interactions, all your comments, questions, all your gratitude and thanks. You know, it's been a massive, massive, massive year. You know, this last couple of weeks, I've really felt all your appreciation, gratitude from the emails and messages that have been sent, the lovely gifts that some of my clients have brought round to me. I really, really appreciate you all, and this is my kind of gift to you all. I absolutely love the YouTube channel. I absolutely love the Spirit Meets Adventure Facebook page because of the interactions, you know, and for, you know, me, it's about moving people in a forwards direction. As I've always said, these are tools that live beyond the hour. And for me, that's what it's all about. For Spirit, the innate, that's what it's all about. And it is always about a forwards direction. I'm going to leave that with you. Fairly long casting, but next casting I do will be around Ostera, Easter. Love to hear your thoughts, love to hear how that sits with you and your life, and we will speak really, really soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.